when I first saw Srila Prabhupada was in Los Angeles, and he came back from India, and I'd already became a devotee in San Francisco, and it was 1969, and Prabhupada came back to Los Angeles, and it must have been 1969 because that's when I was initiated. I was initiated with Jai Tirtha and Dina Bandhu, and I can't remember who else. But the first time I saw Srila Prabhupada before I was initiated was at the airport, and we all went to see Srila Prabhupada, and I knew nothing, of course, and so I saw when all of us devotees were chanting, we're doing kirtan, and Srila Prabhupada's coming in, and he looks so regal, and his chin is high, and he walks into the room, and all these people, and this is 1969, no one had seen a Swami, in LA airport maybe, but I'd never seen a Swami in LA airport, So he was very, like I say, he just was like, walked from another planet. He looked like he came from another planet, And he had all this beautiful cloth on, this saffron cloth. And he was standing in the area there in the airport, and all the devotees are chanting, and I saw a woman, an Indian woman, dive for his feet and touch his feet, and that's all I had to see, okay? I mean, I went for his feet immediately, okay? And I got in trouble by the devotees. They're like, well, you don't do that. You don't touch the sannyasi's feet. But what did I know? But the thing is that Srila Prabhupada was so kind, and this is the thing, that if I have anything to share about that was just that with my relationship with Srila Prabhupada was just that kindness and that tolerance that I saw, that for so many silly, stupid, and some destructive things that we could do, And anyhow, I dove for his feet, and I had my hands on his feet. And he did not move. He stood there. I was so happy. But like I say, it was short-lived, because as soon as I came out and Prabhupada went on his way, then I had to hear it from, I won't say names, but then I had to hear, you never did. But I have to be honest, I didn't really care. I think I'm still kind of like that, right? And I had been around other teachers, so I had been looking, so. But no, and this is what my next story will be about, is because really that is true, that we have Srila Prabhupada in our heart, and he's present in his teachings, and is present in our lives culturally. He taught me how to eat. Mm-hmm. He taught me how to cook. He taught me how to clean. He taught me how to raise my babies. He taught me how to breastfeed. I didn't ever think of it, and he had us breastfeed our babies, I learned everything. So, but I wanted to tell you a story about when I was in Vrindavan in 1975, 76. I was so happy I was there in that time period. It was a difficult time right then for everyone, really. But I was really happy because I was in Vrindavan, and it was such a goal for me to go to India, because the first group of devotees that went, I was just like so disappointed, And but I'm like, okay, okay. And then it was 1974, I think, or 75, and then Prabhupada was in LA, and that's when we went. Stoka Krishna went to Srila Prabhupada and said, we want to go to India. And Prabhupada said, go to Vrindavan. So we went, and Stoka Krishna ended up being, helping a lot with the temple management there, and doing a lot of wonderful service. And anyhow, I was just very grateful to be there. But it was very difficult sometimes to have any personal contact with Srila Prabhupada. It was like there was it's by that time he had like his army around him or something of captains and generals and all that, you know. So like and especially for me, because I was a mom. I had I had two little children, and so in India with two babies, you know, it was pretty time. It's like I had to take care of things, and milk, even just to keep milk and all of those things. So, and I was used to doing a lot of service. I did Sankirtan, I did puppet shows, I did so many things in Los Angeles. So when I was there in Vrindavan, it was different. You know, I was taking care of the babies, and you couldn't even go on the altar. You couldn't go in the kitchen. You know, it was very different for me. But, like I said, I was so happy to be there, and I did parikrams and so many things that I had the time to do. And Srila Prabhupada was there, and like I say, I would go by his door, and I'd see there's just no way to get in there. You know, you just forget it, you know. And so I go to the temple room and stuff, and we did hear lectures every day, so that was awesome. And then there was this one evening, and I was walking from Sundar Arti, and I'm walking from the temple room up in Srila Prabhupada's quarters right there, and where the guest house was at that time, where now the restaurant is. So we were walking. So I was walking that way, and I look into Prabhupada's quarters, and there's nobody there, and Srila Prabhupada's there, but nobody at the door, nobody there. And I'm like, this is my chance. This is it, you know. I'm very glad I'm like that, actually. But anyhow, I looked, and I went, oh my gosh, I'm going in there now. And so I went up, and I walked in the door, and there was only one brahmachari who was leaned up against the wall, and he was kind of covered in his chadar, and he was chanting japa. And I'm going, wow, this is so quiet. And Srila Prabhupada was just up there at his desk, and he was reading, and just there at his desk, he had his leg up, one leg up, and he was just sitting and reading and doing different things. And so I sat down in the middle of the room and just started chanting. There's a pre-story to this, because I was in Mayapur, and I just was rejected by one of the important people there. Some kind of confusion that I won't get into. But I felt rejected, okay, just so you know. And I felt like there's just no way I could ever please Srila Prabhupada, because I'm a woman and because I have children. And I really believed that at that time, you know, that's how I was feeling, okay? And wherever any of that, okay, and we know the history of everything, so, you know. So anyhow, so I was like, okay, I felt kind of hopeless. And there I was sitting there in the room with Srila Prabhupada, and I felt that feeling. And I thought, this is the time that I can talk with Prabhupada about that. Because I don't want him, because what I had heard is that this one devotee had told me that he told Prabhupada that I was lazy. And so I was really brokenhearted, you know, that I would think that Prabhupada would think I was lazy. Not that I'm not lazy, because now I know I am. But then I didn't feel like I was lazy. And I was really angry and also felt hopeless, because there was just no way, you know, that I was going to please Prabhupada or do anything right, you know, at that point. So anyhow, Srila Prabhupada was there, and I went up to his desk. I had the courage. I mustered it up. And I said to Srila Prabhupada, I just folded my hands, and Prabhupada came up and smiled. And so I knew I could speak. And I said, Srila Prabhupada, and I got out a few words, and then I just started crying completely, like, whoa! I mean, it was deep crying, like I should have been in therapy or something, you know. But Prabhupada sat there, and I was crying, Prabhupada, I'm a woman. There's no way I can please you. I'm a woman, and I have children, and they say I'm lazy now. And Srila Prabhupada, at that point, when he heard that, then I saw his arm go back, and he did this smile. It was like the universe or something. And when he did that smile, I just, oh my gosh, you know, how could he think that was a smile thing, you know? Because I was so sad. But that smile was like, he embraced me, you know, with that smile. And then he said to me, he came close, and he goes, are you reading my books? That's what he said to me. Are you reading my books? And I was reading his books, because that's one thing that moms can do, okay? And when you're breastfeeding, everything is you could read books, okay? So I was reading, I was all the way up to the book that he was finished with, and at that time it was probably like 7th canto, 6th canto or something, 5th canto, I don't even know. But it wasn't very much. But the thing was I read them. And so I said to Prabhupada, yes, Srila Prabhupada, I am reading your books. And he said, then you are pleasing me. Yeah. And I mean, you could imagine, and I just was so grateful, and I just felt so much love. That's why I say the unconditional love changed my life. So I was walking across the field, and at those days, to go to the temple, which was in the field at that time, I don't know, I haven't been there, and I'm hoping I can go soon. But it was a very big field, really big field. And when you walk through, there was very tall grasses. And there were some paths, narrow paths, but you had to be careful because, and in the grasses, who knows what was in, I mean, it was it's wild, Anyhow, so Srila Prabhupada was walking on his morning walk, and he had a entourage behind him of his, like I say, his generals and everything. And so I'm walking to the temple, and all of a sudden I see Srila Prabhupada walking toward me, and his entourage behind him. And I'm thinking, well, maybe, I didn't think he was walking toward me, and I'm thinking, well, he's probably just walking over in this direction, So I kept going that way. But then he turned and he walked that way then. And so I thought, oh, maybe he is coming then for me. So I stood still, because I thought, well, let him come by me and then I'll pay my obeisances, So I stood still, and it was so funny because you know how when you see the entourage, no matter where Prabhupada went, they would just follow, It was kind of funny to watch in this big field, because when he'd move this way, they'd all go that way, then he'd go this way. Anyhow, so I was watching, and then he came over, and Srila Prabhupada looks at me, and then he looks down at my feet, and he said, very good, you have shoes on. He walked clear across the field to see if I had shoes on. And that was it. That's all he said, do you have shoes on? That's very good. And then he went on his way. Yeah. I remain connected. I remain connected with my teacher, with my guru, through those books and through those teachings, And I don't forget, and some of now when I read the books too, it's sometimes hard because some of the things I'll read in there about women and stuff, But because that was another thing, when you knew Srila Prabhupada, you can read the books. And it's so important, I think, for the devotees, for us, to share Prabhupada's mood of unconditional love like that, because when you read that, it doesn't come from a judgment place. Mm-hmm. It doesn't come from a place like, oh, they're not as good as us, It comes from a place of service. It comes from a place of like, women, we serve them. We serve women for what their qualities are. Because when I was married by Srila Prabhupada, Stoka Krishna and myself, he told us at that time, he said, you don't give 50%, looking at me. You don't give 50% and you give 50%. You both give 100%, And that's what it is. It's like, women, men, we all give 100%, It's not about this body or, whatever. We try to just give as much as we can, we do. And I don't give 100%, but I'm just saying that's what Prabhupada wants. He wants all of us, so that was that. So I remember that when Prabhupada gave me my name, they said Sahadevi because there was Sahadeva. That was the Arjun, Sahadeva and his brother, right? So when they heard the name, even Gargamuni, even Sahadeva or Sahadevi, Sahadevi, kind of like there was a question. And then Srila Prabhupada, Sahadevi, she is one of the gopis. He said it just like that. And then I went, oh, she's one of the gopis. And I was so happy. I just thought, oh my gosh. So that was another, just to have that name, you know, it meant a lot to me. You know, okay, I'll be honest. So I was a hippie, you know, I did a lot of psychedelics and all that. And Srila Prabhupada, that's the thing about when we came in 1969, many of us had those experiences on, you know, psychedelics. You know, we were looking for God, you know. And then we all gave it up because of Srila Prabhupada. You know, that's the energy he carried, you know, that we could just not want it. You know, that's like, I mean, I know now because I'm older now, and I know what it's like because, you know, I'm not in the presence of Srila Prabhupada's physical presence now. But, and I know the difference. I feel that when he was there, when we were with him physically, and it's, I mean, my daughter who has a teacher, guru now, and she speaks about the presence of a pure devotee, you know, but we were so fortunate. I mean, Jagat Guru, you know, Srila Prabhupada's on every altar, you know, and his presence, it just like it cut the cord of attachment for that period of time, you know. And then, unfortunately, we were so attached, you know, we'd find it again. We'd hang on to it, you know, and hang on to our attachments. But when we were with Srila Prabhupada, you know, or if we were in his presence, you just, you know, we were having a spiritual experience. So it kept us coming back and kept us wanting more. Je anilo prema Karuna Prachu